Hey y'all. It's flickering. You might see some flickering for a while. But uh I could have moved that light. Whatever. Um just watching YouTube and I saw a video of the most beautiful, well, the best female guitar players out there, and they weren't the best female guitar players out there. They were all about Asian guitar players, and they were stunningly beautiful Asian women who were virtuosos at playing the guitar. And I'm totally in support of beautiful, gorgeous Asian lovely ladies playing the guitar. My concern is, what kind of lifestyle do they live? What kind of lifestyle do they live behind the behind the music, behind the virtuoseness, the genre, the stardom, being famous for what they do, and and the men. There's always a man issue. Unless a woman is wrinkles and wrinkles and cottage cheese. No one's just looking at her for her singing voice or her string or the way she plucks the strings. You're looking at her, which means that you're looking at her even more because she's beautiful. She's got hair, she's got makeup on, she's got nails, she's got thighs and cute biceps or whatever you call those in the back. She's got beautiful shoes. She's got that outfit. She's beautiful. She's Asian. She's got that exotic Asian look that every man wants to what? Lay down with. But yet she's going to go home and forget that you were even a fan. She's going to go home and forget that you were even a fan. And a lot of these women who are like, and this is what men need to understand. Now, there's a biblical version of this, but what men need to understand is that if a woman is spending her own money and able to be what she needs to be on her own, that takes away from you as a man. You're looking at her, you want to date her, you want to go out with her, you find her amazing, maybe you play guitar too. Not only that, you have a thing for Asian women. That's the only thing you date is Asian women. Whatever it might be, you want her. This is the kind of girl you gotta have, and you want her. But yet, if she got to where she is at without a man, and everything that she supplies to herself is done on her own, that is how she shapes her sexuality. That is what makes her. That is how she will, she'll probably feel like she's better off being a lesbian. And a lot of these women are lesbians. A lot of these independent women out here who have done everything for themselves independently, first of all, don't know how to treat men because of that. And second of all, because of that, they would rather be with a lesbian. Not because they don't like sexuality with men. It's because they can understand why a lesbian would not be as wealthy as her, and would not, and they understand why a lesbian would totally adore her and want to lay down with her because she adores her. But it's confusing that men are so un-alpha and so focused on women, but yet they don't pay the piper. They don't pay the bills. You love women. You always got your pecker. You always walking around with a heart on for these women, but you ain't the husband man. You ain't the chief. You ain't the boss. You ain't the man holding the money. Okay? When she gets done doing the concert and she says, I need that, I'm going to need that new Les Paul that just came out. It's about $5,000. That's the minimum price. Are you going to be able to get it for her? Or are you going to be able to say to her, can we wait till next year, sweetheart? Or can you even talk her down? You'd have to be a guitarist to do this. Can you talk her down and tell her that there's a better guitar for cheaper? And please, babe, just try it out and see if you like it before you judge. Just remember, though, she's the star. You're not. She's the star. My point here is this. That in the Bible. Now, first of all, let me tell you about the biblical version in the Christian community. Submissive women, and there's a lot of women today who don't practice submissiveness in the church. Especially the black church. Don't practice submissiveness. The women want to be equal with the men, and therefore they're not getting married. They're having, and they're going to burn in hell for it. They're having illicit sex behind the scenes, because the woman wants sex, men want sex, and it's not always about sex, but it's either illicit sex, which means they're sleeping with somebody that's not their husband, or no sex at all. And women can do that better than men. Women can do that. Women can forget about sex. Sex ain't their thing. Or they can, I think women feel less gay when they lay down with a lesbian than men feel when they lay down with a trans woman or a real, what they call a femboy. A feminine man. But how does this all relate was because in the Bible, God created, and a lot of preachers are wrong about this. They're not reading the text properly. God created everything. The human beings were the last thing God created. A lot of atheists get this wrong because they don't know how to separate summaries from accounts to, but God created everything. And then he said, let us make man. And then the man was to till the ground. Well, not till the ground. Then the ground was easy, until the fall. The man cultivated the garden. He was responsible for how the garden was looking. Today, today it's women to do that kind of stuff. But back then, the man cultivated the garden, the flowers and everything, and put everything in place. You name it. And then he named all the animals, and God said, but yet there was not a helpmate suitable for him. After he named all the animals, there was no desire for bestiality, like some preachers say. Adam would have slept with the animals if God didn't make a helpmate for him. No, that's not necessarily true, because the Bible says that after naming the animals, Adam was still alone. Adam was alone, and what's it say? God not only made a helpmate for him out of him. Sorry, trans people. God made a helpmate out of him, suitable for him. He made a human woman out of his rib. Now that rib means different things to different scholars and researchers and all like that, who go back in time and try to add textual criticism to the book of Genesis. However, most Bibles say, regardless of what it really was, they say it was a rib. The point is, I know that you can't do that today. So that rib was more than just a rib that he took out of Adam, and made for Adam a woman, a helpmate suitable for him. And God did not just, and this is very important in the book of Genesis, God did not just take a rib out of Adam, from Adam's body, to make a helpmate suitable for him, a human female version of himself for himself. Sorry, trans people. But he brought her to the man. There's two he's here in charge. The one brought the woman that he had took out of him to him, for him, as part of the creation process, and as part of the beauty of the garden. Okay? That the man might be complete in himself. Because when she was given to Adam, Adam said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. He named her. It was Adam that named her woman. It was not God. It was Adam that named her woe man. Like my pastor used to say, the reason why Adam named her woe man is because he turned around and looked at her and said, whoa, baby, whoa, whoa, whoa. He looked her up and down and said, whoa, that's a, whoa, whoa. But he made a woe man for the man. It was Adam that even named the woman to be woman. And what did he say? Okay. So it wasn't until after the fall, and some people get this confused. This is why the ESV version of the Bible went back to the original statement, in the next chapter, where it says that when they, in the third chapter, where they, where God added all the curses because of their sin, you do understand that it was the woman. Originally, it was the woman that committed the sin. The serpent was just doing what he always does. It was the woman that committed the sin. The man was responsible. His job was to say no. And he did not say no. It might have been the first time he would have said no to his wife. But he didn't. You also need to understand that where did Adam and Eve ever get married? Well, they didn't need to get married because they were created as a couple. Adam had in himself the chassis for a woman. And God took it out of him and made a woman so that she could be perfect for Adam. Therefore, they did not need to get married. But when Adam said, "This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh," and when the scripture says, "For this cause a man shall leave his mother and father and cling to his" what? Wife. The first time you hear the word wife in the Bible. "A man shall leave his mother and father and cling to his wife, and the two shall be one flesh." That was their marriage vows. But they didn't need a wedding because God made her specifically for Adam and brought her to the man, and there was nobody on the earth but Adam and Eve. Okay? But today, and then it says, wait, before I get to that, then it also says that, I got to shave. I got a lot of gray whiskers right here. The light is shining on my gray whiskers. Also, he said in the curse, he says, because the woman has done this, having children would be painful, because she was the first to eat of the fruit, even though the fall happened because of the man. Because the man listened to his wife and did not say no to his wife. Okay? So that brought the fall. Not the fact that Eve had sinned, because God could have sat Adam down and said, "I'm going to give you a new wife," for the former wife was destroyed. But no, Adam, and some people believe, I think even my pastor believes, that Adam ate the fruit because he knew that he did not want her to be separated from him. God would have canceled her. Okay, but I do believe if God had canceled her, he would have gave Adam another woman. But the woman sinned. Death spread through the human race, not because of the woman sinned. Men, get this in your head. Death didn't spread through the human race because the woman sinned. Death spread through the human race because the man refused to say no to his wife. Then it says, in the 4th chapter, I believe, it says, "Your desire will be to your husband, but he will rule over you." And the ESV had to go back and fix that and bring it to that, because they had put it in there as like, "Oh, your desire will be contrary to your husband," but because they're trying to figure out why it says it like that. But the reason why it says it like that is because even though they had sinned, the man, we're not sure if God was just repeating the fact that the man is in charge of the woman. Okay? The part where it says your desire will be to your husband, There's something significant about that, because I think in the King James it says, your desire will be to your husband, but he will rule over you. So you're saying two distinct things there. That but puts a line between them. So when it says your desire shall be to your husband, it doesn't mean you'll just want like you wanted in the Garden of Eden. You'll just want to have sex with your husband. You'll want to share fruit with your husband, okay, again and again and again, and get yourself in trouble. I don't think that's what that means. I think that means that, I'm going to tell you what I think that means. All these women in this video I just watched were beautiful and sexy. They were guitar players. You mean to tell me there ain't no fat female guitar players out there? There are there are women that can play guitar. There are fat women that can sing, and they will blow Beyonce off the map. There are fat women that can play guitar, and they make all them women in this video I just watched look like they need to learn how to play guitar. But they're not going to put them on TV because they're fat. They're not that attractive from head to toe. They might have hair, they might have makeup, they might even have the best looking giant boobs you've ever seen. But they're not going to be as sexy all the way around as these women were. Okay? Your desire shall be for your husband, but he will rule over you. To me, what I think that means is that women will always do. Women will always enslave themselves some kind of way to men. Like, I mean, why do women, especially in the media today, why do women have to be sexy all the time? Like, I mean, women are sexy because they're sexual beings and they're women, so they're naturally sexy. They could be wearing a paint suit and be sexy. All I need to see is hair going down her back. All I need to do is see beautiful eyebrows or them perfect lips, and she's sexy. And my mind just wanders. But why does she? I know why I enjoy looking at any woman, whether she's dressed half naked or wearing a paint suit. But why does she feel she needs to be sexy all the time? Why do women go out of their way? Why do women feel that they, when I was married, okay, my wife would walk around, when the kids weren't home, my wife would walk around with hardly nothing on. Because, we got the day off, no work. The kids are over, hanging out with their friends or whatever. We could have sex anytime we want to, as much as we want. So, she's walking around in, this kind of lingerie outfit thingy. And I'm walking around in my my shorts with no underwear on them, you know what I'm saying? And I'm ready. I'm ready to go again anytime she's ready, But then when we would get ready to go out somewhere, it was always about her making an impression on the people that are going to see her. And don't get me wrong, my ex-wife, she was very modest. She didn't wear her skirts above her knees. She didn't wear blouses that showed cleavage. She did wear some blouses here and there to kind of let the public know that she had decent breasts, and things of that nature. But she wasn't a cleavage person, because when I met my wife, she was older than me. And when we divorced, she was, even older. So she wasn't like no young girl. She wasn't, and even after she went out there and worked out, and she took almost 200 pounds. She lost almost 200 pounds for our wedding. she still didn't do the cleavage thing. She was never a woman of cleavage. You know what I mean? Even when me and her first met, you know what I mean? She had to actually unbutton her blouse for me to, look at her that way, because she was well covered up, So she wanted to let me know that she was hoping some action was going to happen between us, on our first or second date. So she unbuttoned her blouse, because she wasn't one of them kind of women who walk around showing half her chest. Her chest wasn't out, And I appreciate that. I will always look up to her for that, even though we're divorced. I will always appreciate her for that. She had my back when it came to that. And, if another man tried to be a third wheel or something, she didn't hide that from me. She would let me know so-and-so's hitting on her, so-and-so trying to talk to her, so-and-so asked her for a phone number or whatever. And I had to ask the man, oh, I didn't know, I didn't. She was very respectful. It's amazing that it didn't work out, because she was very respectful of me as her husband. She showed no signs of flirtation with other men. She showed no signs of trying to express herself to other men, doing circles around me. She, in all the times that, I left her alone with men and stuff like that, there were certain men that she felt comfortable with because they kept the focus on the topic of the day, where other men, she was like, oh boy, I'm so glad to see you. God, get him out of here, There's some guy, I had a friend one time that he liked black booty. He didn't care what. This white dude didn't care what woman he was sleeping with. Black women were black women. He wanted black booty. I left him in my house with my wife, and he felt that he had to help her out in the kitchen. And my wife was like, boy, am I glad to see you. Get him out of here. Go help him in the kitchen. He had to be a little smart behind and say, oh yeah, I'm going to reach up there for you just like I reached up there for your wife. It's the time for you to go, man. You know what I mean? Thank you for letting me borrow your car, but your car's here. You can go home now. You ain't going to be holding my wife hostage in my own house. Okay? You can take your car and go your way now. I'm home. Papa's home. You can go. But women always feel that they need to be. If whether it be my next door neighbor, okay, I got this neighbor. They're both women. Both my neighbors are women. One on the left, one on the right. They're both women. When they go out in public, man meat is written all over them. Every woman is man meat. Meat for man. No woman goes out there without men in mind. Every woman dresses up to remind men that they are sexual beings. Well, you're not my wife. Why do I care whether you're a sexual being or not? I'm not going to have sex with you. Why do I care about your cleavage? Why do I care about your juicy thighs and your and why is your shoulder coming out of your collar? Why do I need to see your naked shoulder? Why do I need to see part of your boob? Why do I, you know what I'm saying? Why are you showing your underwear on stage like that in front of all these men? Sure, I know you got a pair of panties up under what looks like, I know you're wearing coveralls, but it's, why are you sitting with your, why are you showing between your legs? Why are you showing that? Why is your leg up on the speaker so I can see between your legs? And the men are sitting down and you're standing above the men, and you put your leg up on the speaker, and I mean guys do it too, but come on, you're a woman. And if you think that men that are married to women that are superstars, that are models, that are singers, performers, they showed, there's a bunch of videos out there where Jay-Z had to watch Beyonce perform. And he gets upset. He gets upset sometimes watching her perform because her performance is always about sex. It's always a sexual thing. Boobs bouncing and butt cheeks bouncing, and her wearing an outfit and stuff. And I'm looking at this Beyonce concert and a clip of this Beyonce concert, and I'm looking at the comments section, and the comments section says, it was a guy, and he said, man, Beyonce always knows how to put on a perfect show. And the clip was only like 5 minutes, and three minutes actually, where she was doing one of her famous songs on stage, and her and her girls got up there and they did a part in the dance where they dance in a way that makes their breasts bounce. And the breasts have to bounce. There's no flat-chested women on that stage. The breasts have to bounce. That's part of the dance. And you can go on YouTube and you can find videos of women in India and women in, certain parts of the Middle East, doing chest dances. Doing chest dances. And one thing that kills me, in every nation of the world, even the Muslim world, even the world where women are covered up from head to toe, those same women are allowed to, especially with the invention of YouTube and TikTok and that kind of thing, women are allowed, even Muslim women are allowed to go and do exotic dances. They're allowed to take off the burqa and allowed to do these dances where they're, and they're allowed to take off the burqa and all like that and have a blouse with the split in it that's showing a little bit of their chest, and they do these dances and are really good at it that make their chest bounce. And this is a dance that's popular in the Middle East, in India. These are Muslim women doing this. Now when they get done doing TikTok, they'll put their burqa back on, wrap themselves back up, and go out in public. But these same men that seen them out in public all covered up are looking at them on TikTok bouncing to some Indian Arab beat, and they're getting millions of views, millions of likes. Okay? These women. And so when the Bible says your desire shall be to your husband, but he will rule over you, that means that a woman will go out there and she'll look good for a dozen men, 100 dozen men, but she only gets one, and he will rule over her. And the day that she gets married, if he says, cover your chest up, it doesn't matter if you trying to keep up with Beyonce, you're going to cover your chest up, or it's considered unfaithfulness. Cover your chest up. Well, and some of you women today, you are like, well, I don't want a man that's going to tell me how to dress. I don't want a man that's going to... Again, why are you dressed like that in the first place? You're not dressed like that because you're a lesbian. You're not dressed like that because, you're even thinking of sex. You are dressed like that because men exist. You go to a place where women are indoors and nobody's going to see them but women. And what do you see? You see women covered up. You see women wearing t-shirts. And they may wear t-shirts, and depending on what they're doing, they may be walking around in their panties or whatever, because they understand that, there's no lesbians in this room. This is all heterosexual women. I ain't got to worry about, no women looking, she ain't got to worry about no women looking at her like that. Okay? But, also when women get dressed up to go to places where it's just all women, look at the way they dress compared to when they dress in more public places. Now, if you're talking about a bar where women are celebrating and, sure, they may dress a certain way because they're kind of like making an impression. And most women today don't know how to dress beautifully without showing a certain amount of cleavage. To them, the leg room and the cleavage is what makes the outfit look good on her, because she looks good. But what about your husband? What about the fact that no man should be looking at you and having that taste in his mouth except your husband? No man should be thinking sexual ideas about you except your husband. Some women may be naive as to how men are wired, but let me close by saying this. Your desire shall be to your husband, but he will rule over you. Women don't go to work every day and not prepare themselves for men. Women go out of their way every day to be beautiful to whatever they find attractive. Whether they're attractive to lesbian girls or whether they're attracted to men. Okay. But again, sexuality comes into play. Again, what about your husband? No one's going to sleep with you but your husband. Nobody has any business thinking about you that way but your husband. Nobody has any business or should have any concern about calling you a prince or talking about how beautiful you are or whatever. Nobody should be drooling over this Filipina P but her husband. And I saw a video the other day with the Filipina P where she's still over in the U.S. And she went to a beach, took her microphone out to the beach, started filming Americans, asking Americans about who pays for a date. And she was shocked, and I was shocked to find out that many Americans, American men, you stupid idiots, think that they can go Dutch with a woman on a date. not the first date, not the second date. If you're married and you're paying all your bills and your wife is running your credit card up, sure, maybe then. Your wife, not some girl you're dating, your wife can help you out with the food. You went on 100 dates, your wife can pay for the meal tonight, being she wants to run your credit card up. But you ask a woman out on a date, you pay for everything. Everything. First date, second date, third date, fourth date, fifth date, sixth date, seventh date. Filipina P. But she came here to America and asked this question. In the Philippines, she probably wouldn't even ask Filipinas this question, because Filipinas know the man's going to pay for everything. Passport bros know when they go to the Philippines, they're going to pay for everything. Only one man, one black man, out of all of them, out of everybody she interviewed, said, "Oh, the man pays for everything, except for when a woman has him in a friend zone. If I find out she's got me in a friend zone on a second date, then that's going to be the last date, and she's going to help me pay for it since she's got me in the friend zone." I agree with them. But if you dating a girl, you pay for everything. Not only that, in closing, but men, hear me good. Women, regardless of what they show off on television and on YouTube, these women getting up in the pulpit preaching, it does not matter. Women were designed to be taken care of. When you get married, you are investing. You are buying. Okay? Get that in your thick skull. You're not just getting a woman who's attracted to you. You play that game with a woman, she's going to become unattracted to you. Women feel better being with an older man that they find very unattractive, that pays for everything, and then he knows how to touch her just right, so now she's attracted to him. But the first attraction a woman has in you is security. That's the first attraction. It's not your looks. Your looks, sure, will get you a date, but it won't keep you dating. The first attraction a woman has for you is security. The last attraction a woman has for you is security. It's all about security. Sex and all that come out of security. Women of the Middle East, women of Asia, especially in places like the Philippines, okay, where, feminism hasn't completely arrived yet. There's still some tradition. Women know that a man is their status. And the minute a woman understands that you're going to take her out on a date and you're going to pay for everything, and she expects you to, it's hard for her to say no. It's just a date. If she lets you take her out again and you pay for everything on a second date, if she's a fornicator, she just might sleep with you. Whereas a lot of women here in America, this is why they hate the Filipina P. A lot of women here in America will make a man date them, date after date after date after date, and then turn around and say you're in the friend zone. The guy who she really wants to sleep with, he ain't paying for squat. Because he ain't a man. And women have a tendency to be attracted or have more sex with men that are not men than they do alpha males. They sleep with beta males. You sleep with a man that talks more than you, that gossips more than you, that got more female friends than you do. He might as well be gay, but that's who you're sleeping with. Meanwhile, Mr. Alpha Male over here, you just think he wants to control you as a woman. You're afraid of real men because you think they want to control you. But again, biblically, a man has a wife that represents him. All that beauty, all that beauty and everything that a woman possesses is for her husband. That belongs to him. The minute he says, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and calls you his wife, all that is his. That's the winner takes all. That's all his. All that beauty and makeup and hair and nails and shoes and and all the cleavage and all that stuff, all that belongs to him. And only to him. That's what we call marriage. When he only belongs to you ladies, and you ladies only belong to him. He only belongs to you. He doesn't belong to his mama or his big sister or even his children. He belongs to you. You got all these YouTube videos where women, want to sit there and play, that's fine. But every day, no. You want your kids to feel important. But where you fell at is when you let your dog and your kids be more important than your spouse. Your dog needs to go in the other room and climb on somebody else's lap. Go climb on the guest's lap. You and your husband are spending time on the couch. The dog and the kids don't need to be in between the two of you all the time. They need to understand what marriage is. Okay? You see these videos on YouTube where, we play who the kid loves most. Well, the kid loves the one that's going to spoil him the most. But what about when dad wants personal time with mom? What about when mom wants to give herself to dad and have that personal time? You need to let that kid cry. You need to let that kid throw a tantrum. Because your marriage comes first, before, above all, regardless. Nobody is more important than your marriage. You love everybody, you put them first, that's true. But nobody is more important than your marriage. That's not saying that your mom don't get the front seat if you go pick up your mom. That's not saying that your dad don't get the front seat. He don't get to ride shotgun if you pick up dad. But initially, it's all about your wife. And ladies, it's all about your husband. Why is it easier to tell a man that it's all about his wife, but it's not easy to tell a woman it's all about her husband? That's the problem we have in America. Whereas in the Philippines, it's all about the men. The only problem with that is men, because of the time we're in, don't know how to accept that, and they get arrogant with that. So arrogant that a lot of expats in the Philippines, especially these white men, are getting put in prison. Because these women are filling them up with so much kingship. They're filling their heads up with all this, I'm invincible kind of thing. That they end up in prison. That's how bad it gets. No, you are the husband to your wife under God. And your wife is your wife in all submissiveness within the limits of being a Christian. Okay? Within the limits of God. Okay? In the Christian community, that's the way it is. But in the Christian community, I don't know about this new one, but the one I grew up in. I'm from the early 80s. where I grew up was a woman is submissive to her husband first and foremost. That's everything from her getting up in the morning, making breakfast, to the way she dressed when she goes out of the house, to whatever they talk about and don't talk about, to whether or not she needs to be out there working. If her husband says she don't need to work, she don't need to work. Because the best citizenship for a woman is to let a man take care of her. If you got a man and he's taking care of you, you are a first-class citizen. You are the queen when a man takes care of you. But when you decide to try to meet a man 50-50, you are no longer the queen, sweetheart. You are just a piece of coochie. Okay? And so, since you want to go 50-50, you can pay for this date. Since you want to go 50-50, you can pay some of these bills. Since you want to go 50-50, okay, when you put on your little clothes and you go out there and show, okay, yourself in front of other men, showing all your juiciness, okay, your husband can go out there and he can go to the bar with his friends, and if another woman comes up to him and flirts with him at the bar or the club or whatever, you don't need to know about it. Because why? You want to be 50-50. Stop telling yourself, ladies, that you need to be equal with men. Equality will make you broke. Equality will leave you degraded and disrespected. It's disrespectful for a man to think that he's supposed to go 50-50 with a woman. And that's the way a lot of men are here in America. Until they decide that they're going to pack up and move to the Philippines, and they already know. You complaining, but they already know. They're not, these women ain't going to go 50-50 with them. It ain't a date if she got to pay anything. First date, second date, third date, fourth date, fifth date, and so on. Your desire will be for your husband, but he will still rule over you. And if you got a problem with that, you're not ready to get married. If you got a problem with that, your coochie is just out there for the highest bidder. There's no sacredness, there's no sanctity. Women have to belong to their husbands. They have to be, his highest investment, his most prized possession. If you got a problem with that, this is why we're in the situation we're in. Women go out there and they get out there and they look good for all these different men. To go home and sleep with the beta male who talks more than they talk, gossip more than they gossip, screams and yells and gets angry more than they do. But that's who they're sleeping with. And that's why they keep breaking up and going from relationship to relationship to relationship. When all you got to do is take care of your husband and take care of your house. And when your husband wants to have sex with you, whether he wants to have sex with you every night or twice every day or 6 times every day, you should be thankful that he loves you that way. Because see, the reason why the trans community gets laid at all is because you got a man that looks like a woman who understands, because he's still a man, he understands what a man wants. And every time the food is in there cooking and he knows it's going to be an hour, he's going to be on his knees in front of his man. He's going to be butt naked in front of his man. This is why trans women are getting away. And this is why more and more gay men are becoming trans women. Because women are afraid to be women. Women are not humble enough to be women. So you're going to let a man put on a dress, and you can look at him and tell that that's a man, but you're going to let him please your husband more than you can please your husband. Because your vagina is not made in gold. And your vagina is not the purest thing on your body either. Okay? But when you always are available to have sex with your man, when you always are keeping your house in order so that your man ain't got to worry about nothing but you. He don't have to worry about nothing but you because you got everything else taken care of. And he got the bills taken care of and everything. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to worry about nothing but him. He's doing everything else plus worrying about nothing but you. Man is made to do that. You're not. If you don't give yourself to your husband, and if you don't have a husband, you say the word sex, you should look for a husband. You say the word security, you should be looking for a husband. You say the word status, you should be looking for a husband. Because there's something about you going out there supporting yourself instead of letting a man do it. It's going to turn you into less of a woman. And that's just the facts. That's facts coming from the Bible. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for watching.